Here question says find the charges on each of the capacitors C1, C2, C3, C4. You have to find the value of charges of each of them. And this is a circuit given. Okay. What we will do at first, we will find total capacitance. We see these two are in series and they are in parallel with this. First, we find the value of this one, capacitance of the entire parallel. You can write like this: Cp equal to this plus this, that 1 by 4 plus 1 by 12. They are in series, so series formula like this plus this one 6 will do. Hope you understood, or you can do it separately also. First, you put them in series and using this formula. And then whatever answer becomes, with that answer you're adding this one because they are in parallel. So this will give the value of capacitance of parallel circuit. Okay, take LCM and all and check what is the answer coming. This will come 3 plus 6. The answer is coming 9. 9 microfarad. Okay. Now this 9 microfarad and these two, they are in series. So I'll do that formula, capital C, total capacitance. That will come 1 by 2 plus 1 by 9 inverse. Now LCM is coming. Hello, there was a phone call, okay. So now we are finding the answer of this is coming 11 by 18 inverse. That means answer is coming 18 by 11 microfarad after doing the reciprocal, 18 by 11. Now we find total charge. Therefore, Q is equal to CV. CV is the total, that is 18 by 11 into total voltage is 12. We can find the answer in points here. 18 into 12 divided by 11. Check what is the answer. 216 by 11 microcoulomb. We can write the answer in decimal also. You can check how much is the answer coming. So this is value of total charge. Total charge is Q is flowing, the same charge is flowing through this. Now here the charges are dividing. So here the charges will be Q1, here the charges are Q2. Okay, now how to divide the charges Q1 and Q2, how to divide? You know the method. Q1 charges will be same in both because they are in series, no same. And Q2 and Q1, how to find? We must find the value of voltage of parallel, VP. VP formula we have Q by CP. Q means this value, 216 by 11 and divided by CP. CP value is 9, so I'll divide by 9. You can cancel, make it smaller there. 9 to the 24 is coming. Okay, you can add 19.63 microcoulomb. Now VP value is coming 24 by 11 volts. Now I'll find Q1. Q1 value will become C into VP. That means these two in series, answer was coming 3 here. You can have a look at it. The answer of this part only is coming 3. Together, these two together you will take. This is coming 3 into VP value, this is 24 by 11. Check what is answer coming. And Q2 value will come here. Again C into VP, but C is this one, C4. C4 value is 6 and VP value is 24 by 11. This much microcoulomb, this much microcoulomb will come. You can get the answer in decimal. This much, you can tell me what is the answer coming here. 24 into 3 by 11. How much is answer? Okay, 6.54. And out here, 24 into 6 by 11. Okay, 13.09. When you add these two answer, no answer will come this much only. That answer only will come. So charges on this and this will be the same. That is Q1. Q1 value is 6.54 will be here also and will be here also. And C4 value is coming 13.09. Hope we got it, huh? Understood, huh? Okay, okay. So, okay, fine. Okay, fine, fine. Take your time. उसका वैसा का होमवर्क हो गया कंप्लीट। हाँ, वो मांग रही है, बोलिए वहाँ होमवर्क भी देगी वहाँ से। Done. Okay. Now the next question, write down. Right. A number of 8 microfarad capacitors. A number of 8 microfarad capacitors is available to you. A number of 8 microfarad capacitors, 8 microfarad capacitors are available to you. So, find the minimum number of capacitors. Find the minimum number of capacitors would you use? Find the minimum number of capacitors would you use to get an effective capacitance of 20 microfarad. To get an effective capacitance of 20 microfarad. We stop. Draw a diagram for this arrangement. Draw a diagram for this arrangement. Yeah. That is your question. All right. Now, tell me how you will do to get 20 and how many you will need. First, you go for the diagram, then you will know the number, how many you will need. Once again, I'll explain to you the question. Question says you are given only 8 microfarad capacitors only available. And you have to get a total capacitance of 20 microfarad. So how many minimum number of capacitors you will use and which way would you connect them? Series way or parallel way or both the ways? You tell me if you can think and just share with me the idea how you will get 20. Tell me fast. Yeah. Share the idea. Yeah. Any ideas? Please share with me. Are you able to hear me? Okay. Please can you give some idea how you'll get 20? You are having 8 microfarad and you have to get total capacitance value 20. So how will you do? Share first. No idea. We can do, let us see, 8 plus 8. If you add two of them, 8 plus 8 becomes how much? 16, no? Yes? And other two, 8 and 8 put in, 1 by 8, 1 by 8, the reciprocal formula. So 1 by 8 plus 1 by 8 will give the answer how much? 4, no? 1 by 8 plus 1 by 8, answer is coming 4. So your 8 plus 8, 16 plus 4 become 20. That means you need 4. So first you draw the diagram. That means all the three, 8 plus 8 plus 4 you're adding. So first you put 8 in parallel, another 8 also in parallel, and another 2 8 in series you put like this way. Each one is 8 microfarad. 8, 8. This is also 8. This is also 8 microfarad. You'll get total 20 or not. Just check. This is 8 plus 8, 16. And these two are in series, no? The answer out here will come 4. So 8 plus 8, 16 plus 4. The answer is 20. So done. Understood? So therefore, how many you need now? Therefore, minimum number of capacitors. How many capacitors you are using? 1, 2, 3, 4. So write that 4. Minimum number of capacitors is equal to 4. This much you will need, and this is all you have to connect. Then you will get the total value equal to 20. Okay. So this is done. Now next question. Write down. A potential difference of a PD, potential difference of 100 volts. A PD of 100 volts is applied. A PD of 100 volts is applied across the two plates of a capacitor. A PD of 200 volts, 100 volts is applied across the two plates of a parallel plate capacitor of 5 microfarad, of 5 mu f, 5 microfarad. We stop. How much energy is stored? How much energy is stored? Question mark. Okay. Find also the change of energy. Find also the change in energy stored. Find also the change in energy stored when a dielectric slab K equal to 5, capital K equal to 5 is inserted between the plates, inserted inserted between the plates. Okay. There are two parts. So we'll take the information first. Capacitance value is given how much? 5 microfarad. 5 microfarad. Yeah. Voltage is given how much volt? 100 volt. First we have to find energy stored. Energy stored, formula we have half CV square. This is at E naught. E naught means energy in the free space when there was no dielectric. Right, half. C value is how much? 5. That is 5 into 10 to the power minus 6. V is 100. So write 100 square. And now calculate the answer. The answer will come 0.05. 0.05 joule. Now we are having a dielectric medium, right? EK, energy in the presence of dielectric medium, that is K. The formula will be what? We can direct as E naught divided by K. It will decrease by K times. This answer decreasing by K times, 0.05 divided by K. K value is given 5. Answer is 0.01 joule. Therefore, change in energy, rather loss, change in energy equal to this minus this. 0.05 minus 0.01. The answer will come 0.04. This answer. This is answer. Okay. Right. Now the next question. Next question is an electric lamp, an electric flash lamp, FLASH, an electric flash lamp has 20 capacitors, each of capacitance 5 microfarad, each of capacitance 5 microfarad, each of capacitance 5 microfarad, connected in parallel, full stop. The lamp is LAMP, the lamp is operated at 100 volt. The lamp is operated at 100 volt. 100 volt. Stop. Calculate how much energy will be radiated in a flash. Calculate how much energy will be radiated. How much energy will be radiated in a flash? Flash. Okay, we'll do it simple way. Voltage is given 100 volts. Okay, and there are 20 capacitors. The value of capacitance of each is 5 microfarad, and they are connected in parallel. You know, in parallel, simple addition will take place. That means total capacitance will be here 20 capacitors into 5, because 20 capacitors, each one of 5 microfarad are in parallel. You are simply adding all 20 of them. So 20 into 5, the answer will come 100 microfarad. Now we find whatever energy is stored in it, so that only will come up in the form of flash. Like energy formula, we have half CV square. Half C value is 100 into 10 to the minus 6 into V means 100. 100 square. Now calculate. The answer will come 0.5 joule. Finished. Now we'll do one more question and then this chapter is over. Okay. Right. The following circuit is for a camera flash. The following circuit is for a camera flash. We stop. A 2000 microfarad capacitor is charged. A 2000 microfarad capacitor is charged. A 2000 microfarad capacitor is charged by a 1.5 volt cell. Capacitance 2000 microfarad capacitor is charged by a 1.5 volt cell. We stop. When a flash is required, comma, the energy is stored in the capacitor is made to discharge through a discharge tube in 0.1 millisecond. Small milli, millisecond. We stop. Calculate the energy stored and calculate the energy stored in the capacitor, calculate the energy stored in the capacitor and the power of the flash, power of the flash. Two things you have to do. Okay, now a figure is also given. You can just draw the figure and see. They have given a figure also here. Circuit is given. This is 2000 microfarad, 1.5 volt. This is electronic trigger, Trigger, trigger. This is flash, discharge tube. This is the discharge tube. This is the light emitted by the discharge tube in the form of flashing. Okay. This is the figure given. This thing is quite simple only. Now we'll answer the first part. Energy is stored. Formula we have half CV square. We write half C is this much 2000 into 10 to the minus 6 into 1.5 square. Okay. Now when you find, the answer will come. Yes. Electronic trigger, Trigger. Energy value will come this much, 2.25 into 10 to the minus 3 joule. Now find power. Power formula we have work by time or energy by the time. Energy value is this much, 2.25 into 10 to the minus 3 divided by the time given. The time given is 0.1 millisecond. That means 0.1 into 10 to the minus 3. Milli value is 10 to the minus 3. Now the answer will come 22.5 watt. So that is it. So this is the solution for this problem. So this is done. Okay. All right. Done. Okay. Now we are doing new chapter, rather new unit, current electricity. The name of this one is current electricity. Yeah, this is little lengthy. Yeah, current electricity. Okay. First thing is current, electric current. Definition of current. I think you know it, but once again, we say the rate of flow of charges is called current. The rate of flow of charges is called current. Therefore, we have the formula of current. Current denoted by I. Current is equal to charges flowing upon the time we realize. I is equal to Q upon T. Okay. Now, SI unit of current is, what is the SI unit of current? You all know ampere. Ampere denoted by A. And the instrument which measures current is called ammeter. AMMETER. For a variable current such as an AC and all, alternating current such as an alternating current or variable current, the same thing we write in the form of calculus as I is equal to, we write dq by dt. Constant current. This is variable, is varying with time. So we write in this manner, dq by dt. At a rate measurer we write. Okay. Now further this Q is equal to, we have to do number of electrons and all. Now this formula we can extend. Q is equal to, we can add Ne by T, from the principle of quantization of charge. Q value we can add Ne by T, where E stands for uh, electronic charge and N is the number of electrons. In a conductor, when electrons flow, when the free electrons of the conductor flow, we say that the current is flowing. And the formula that is to find the number of electrons, then we can use this formula. I is equal to Ne by T time. Okay. Current is, do you know what type of current has got magnitude and direction both? Do you know that? Current has direction, no? We mark the direction of flow of current. What direction does the current flow? In case of DC, current flows from a point of higher potential to a point of lower potential. With respect to a source, like battery and all, so current will flow in what direction? Do you know? Positive, this current will flow from positive and it will go towards the negative, this way. Whereas electron flows in this direction, electron flow and current flow directions are opposite to each other. Current is flowing from high to low potential, whereas electron will flow like this. This is the direction of flow of electron. Electron will flow in the opposite direction. Suppose in this case, if the current is flowing in, this is what direction? Clockwise. So the current electron will flow anti-clockwise, the opposite way. Okay. Is current scalar or vector? You can share the idea. Is current vector because it has magnitude and direction both, isn't it? Yeah. But I will tell you for your kind information, it is scalar. It is not vector. Though it has magnitude and direction both, yet it is scalar. Why? Question may come. Although current has both magnitude and direction, yet it is scalar. Why? We say because it does not follow the law of addition of vectors. Vector should have magnitude and direction, but that's not the only criteria. It must follow a particular law of addition of vectors. You know that current breaking into component, if the two currents are perpendicular to one another, how to find the total current? We have to use Pythagoras theorem and all. Do we use that? Answer is no. We simply add them. So current does not follow the law of addition of vectors. So it is scalar only. It is not vector. There are two such quantities in physics. In the entire physics, there are two such quantities. They have both magnitude and direction, yet they are scalar because both the quantities do not follow the law of addition of vectors. And those two quantities are current and pressure. Just keep in mind, current and pressure are the two physical quantities which do not follow the law of addition in spite of having magnitude and direction. So they are simply added. That means all the current, all the pressures are simply added without using the law of addition of vectors. Hope you understood this. You can write on this point or you can make a note of it, what I said just now. Okay. Now the next part you got to learn is this one. Current density. Current density. This is denoted by the symbol J, capital J. What is current density? The current flowing per unit area of cross section of a body or per unit area of cross section of a conductor is called current density. That means J is equal to, we write current per unit area. Current per unit area of cross section is called current density. What is the SI unit of this? SI unit of current density will be ampere. This is meter square. So ampere per meter square. AM minus 2 or ampere slash meter square. What is current density? Current per unit area of cross section. Current per unit area of cross section of a conductor is called current density, and formula of current density J is equal to I upon A, and its SI unit is ampere per meter square. Is current density a scalar or vector? We say, current is a scalar. But current density is vector, right? Now it is vector. It is a vector quantity. It is a vector quantity. It looks quite unusual, but it is. I will show you later on also the reason. It is a vector quantity. Current density, current is a scalar, but current density is vector. Okay, all right. Then after, we have to learn what is resistance. Do you know resistance? What is resistance? I think you've done in lower class also denoted by R, and its SI unit is ohms, omega, no? The symbol. What is resistance? Probably they will not ask you the definition because this is now, uh, I mean, below standard, sub-standard question. We say it is the property of a conductor to oppose the flow of current. Okay. Resistance depends on what factors? What are the factors on which resistance of a conductor depends? R depends on R depends. I think you know that, but once again, I'll repeat. R depends on what factors it depends on? Tell me. Do you know in class, lower class also you have done nature? First, nature of the conductor. First factor is nature of the conductor. Second factor is length. Length of the conductor. How does it depend? Right here, R is proportional to length, directly proportional to the length. Third factor, it depends on area of cross section. Area of cross section of the conductor. Then is R is proportional to 1 by A. That is inversely proportional to the area of cross section. And the fourth factor is temperature. Temperature. And how it depends, I'll talk about that later on. So resistance of a conductor depends on these four factors. You know, every conductor by nature differ in value of resistance. Some offer high resistance, some offer low resistance. Good conductor will be offering low resistance. Bad conductor will be offering high resistance. Silver is the best conductor. So silver offers the least resistance by nature. Then copper also has low resistance because it is also a good conductor. That's why we are using for electrical wiring and all. No? At home, household wiring is done using copper wire. It is a good conductor of electricity, so it offers low resistance. Okay. Then it varies from one type of conductor to the another type of conductor. It depends on the length also. How does it depend? Directly proportional. Okay, before that, let us know the cause of resistance. What causes resistance to take place? What is the cause of resistance? Resistance is caused due to the collisions between the free electrons of the conductor with their fixed ions, with their positive ions. Collision takes place, and that collision causes obstruction or the resistance. Okay, resistance is directly proportional to the length. That is more the length, more the resistance. Less the length, less the resistance. And the logic is very simple because if the length is longer, more collisions will take place. More collisions will take place, so resistance will be more. If the length is shorter, the less collisions will take place, so resistance will be less. When length is doubled, resistance also doubles. Same thing will happen. When length is increased by 10 times, resistance also will increase by 10 times. Same thing will happen. If length is halved, resistance also is halved. Length is decreasing by 1 by 10 times, so resistance also will decrease by 1 by 10 times. Same thing will happen on both. Okay, resistance and area of cross section are inversely proportional. Less the area of cross section, more the resistance. Area of cross section is, you know, that this area, apart from the length. We can call it thickness also, but thickness actually means diameter. If this is circular, if the area of cross section is circular, and area formula will be pi r square because it is circular, whereas thickness means diameter. Okay. Anyway, so resistance is inversely proportional to the area of cross section. Less the area of cross section, more the resistance. More the area of cross section, less the resistance, just the opposite. When the area of cross section is doubled, what will happen to the resistance? It will become 1 by 2, that is, it becomes half. It will decrease by 1 by 2 times. When the area of cross section is increased by 10 times, what will happen to the resistance? It will decrease by 1 by 10 times. When the area of cross section is halved, resistance will double. Resistance will increase by 2 times. When the area of cross section is decreased by 1 by 10 times, resistance will increase by 10 times. So I think reverse will happen. You have to note this point. And why this happens? Because we are having same length of maybe the two wires. One is having less cross section, one is having greater cross section area. When it is less cross section, that means the gap will be less. It is compact. When the electrons will flow, more collisions will take place. But when same thing is having higher gap, area of cross section is more, the gaps will be more within the conductor. Due to more gaps, less collisions will occur. Less collision will take place, so resistance will be less. So that is the whole idea about it. Okay, now, yeah, any question? Okay. Now we have to write, suppose when we are changing both length and area of cross section at the same time. So what will happen? When length increases and area of cross section decreases, so I just, that means when both R and both L and A are changed, the resistance also will change. How will it change? We'll do like this. You can just derive a formula for it, okay? Or just hold on for a while, then while doing numericals, I'll discuss about that. Okay, now just give the next heading. Variation of resistance, with temperature, This is the new heading you give, variation of resistance with temperature. Okay. Now write down under this heading, the resistance of a conductor varies with temperature. The resistance of a conductor varies with temperature according to the following equation. You can write on the equation here like this: R theta is equal to R0 1 plus alpha theta. Or this thing only we can write like this also: alpha is equal to R theta minus R0 into theta. You can mention where alpha is called temperature coefficient. And R0 is the resistance at 0 degrees Celsius. R theta is resistance at theta degrees Celsius. And theta is the rise of temperature. If question comes, how does resistance of a conductor vary with temperature? We just write out this equation or this way. They are same. From this equation, if we make temperature coefficients definition, right? It is the fractional. It is the fractional change. It is the fractional. It is the fractional change in resistance. It is a fractional change in resistance per degree rise of temperature. This is the fractional change. It is the fractional change of resistance per degree rise of temperature. Per degree rise of temperature. Okay. Now write down its SI unit is. Its SI unit is. Its SI unit is K minus 1. That is per Kelvin. K to the power minus 1 per Kelvin. Per Kelvin, and the other unit is, and the other unit is, and the other unit is per degree Celsius. Per degree Celsius. Degree Celsius power minus 1 per degree Celsius. Okay. Now you try to understand the definition. Okay. This is change, change of resistance per original resistance. That means this is fractional. This is the fraction. Fraction, how do we calculate? Out of the total. Suppose 50 out of 100, like that way. Change is 50 out of 100. Means original temperature resistance is R0, and how much is the change? This is called fractional fraction. It is a kind of fraction, no? What kind of fraction it is? It is the fraction of change of resistance per degree. Theta means per degree rise of temperature. Per degree rise of temperature. So this is how we define temperature coefficient. Okay. Now temperature coefficient can be positive, it can be negative, it can be even zero. Okay. Zero means no change in the resistance. It means R theta and R0 are equal. Okay. Now write down special cases. Right below this, special cases. Special cases. Below this head, special cases number 1. Write down in metals, comma, resistance increases. In metals, comma, resistance increases with the rise of temperature. Increases with the rise of temperature. And right under bracket, alpha is value is greater than 0. Alpha is positive, that means. Alpha value is greater than 0, that means positive value. Alpha has positive value for metal. That means metal will have resistance R theta will be more than R0. That means resistance will increase with the rise of temperature. This is applicable for any metal like iron, copper, silver. When you increase the temperature, resistance also will increase. So we draw the graph to show the variation like this between resistance and temperature. Right, resistance here, right, temperature here. This is 0 degree temperature. When you're taking 0 degree Celsius, the graph will come like this. This way the graph will come. Don't start from 0 because resistance cannot be 0, no, at 0 degree Celsius. So resistance will be having some value. That value will keep on increasing when we increase the temperature. Then it's positive slope. Positive slope means alpha is positive. This way will draw. When temperature increases, resistance also increases. The question may come, draw resistance temperature graph or resistivity temperature graph for metals. You draw this one. Resistance and resistivity graph will be the same. Now, case 2. Case 2. Is it clear? Is it clear? Yeah. What is your response? Is it clear? Okay. Now, number 2. Right. Write down in semiconductors such as silicon, Si, means germanium, etc. Silicon, germanium. Germem. Symbol I have written SI, silicon, comma, germanium. Germanium, germanium, etc. The resistance decreases with the rise of temperature. The resistance decreases, write down. The resistance decreases with the rise of temperature. That means we write alpha value is less than 0. Alpha value is less than 0, that is negative. Temperature coefficient is negative. Name a substance with a negative temperature coefficient. When you have to think about semiconductor, you can just name silicon or germanium. Positive temperature coefficient, that is resistance increasing with the increase of temperature, that is metals. You can give an example of any metal. Okay. Now we'll see the graph. Resistance and temperature graph at R, theta. This is 0 degrees Celsius. The graph will come now like this way. Decreasing graph will not come in straight line, rather it will come like this. So this is how you draw the graph for semiconductors. Resistance and temperature graph or resistivity and temperature graph will come this way. Okay. Yes. I think some of you are asking me, is it in syllabus or something like that? Is it true? Huh? I read the message. Huh? You can ask me here only. If you have got any doubts, ask me. These are there in the syllabus. Okay. You can respond to this. Some of you who was asking me that whether it is in syllabus or not, something. Were any of you asking me? Huh? Okay, I think somebody maybe from your group. Now, number 3, third one. Third one, we write in alloys such as constantan, comma, manganese. In these two alloys, in alloys such as constantan, comma, manganese, the resistance does not vary. The resistance does not change, you can write, or does not vary with the rise of temperature. Their resistance more or less remains constant, does not change. Therefore, you write like this: alpha is nearly 0. There is no change. Alpha value remains almost the same. That is R theta and R0 value is more or less same. That's why alpha value will come 0 or it will come nearly 0. So name a substance in whose temperature coefficient is nearly 0. We say this one, or whose resistance does not change or change very less with the rise of temperature. We'll think about this constantan or manganese alloy. Okay, now put an asterisk below, write down standard resistors. A standard resistance example will be a resistance box. Resistance box are usually made of standard resistors under bracket resistance box are usually made of the alloy constantan or manganese. Usually made of the alloy constantan or manganese because it has low temperature coefficient and high resistivity. Low temperature coefficient and high resistivity. So question may come, name the material used in making a standard resistor or resistance box. we say constantan or manganese. And what is the reason why we are using this material? Because their temperature coefficient is very low, their resistance will not change with the change of temperature. You know, resistance box, when you take out 1 ohm, 2 ohm like that, so it should give exactly 1 ohm or 2 ohm only. It should not vary. And we know the daytime and the weather wise, season wise also the temperature fluctuates, temperature changes. So if we are using some other materials, their materials temperature will change and so as the resistance. So their resistance will not be constant then in that case. We are choosing this one for the two reasons because its resistance is more or less constant. The temperature coefficient is very low, that is nearly zero, and it has high resistivity or high resistance. Short length of the wire gives sufficiently high resistance. So for that reason, we are using constantan or manganese in making standard resistor. Understood? All right. Okay, now you can give next heading, color code of carbon resistors. Color code of carbon resistors. Color code of carbon resistors. Okay. Color code of carbon resistors. There is a code word. I think you know about it, or once again I'll tell you what is it. We write this way, and they are all representing digits from 0 to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Have you done this in school? Yeah. What is your response? Have you done it in the school? Okay. This one is read as, you know, we make a sentence out of it. Okay. B.B. Roy, you can read it. B.B. Roy, Great Britain's very good wife. How do we read it? I'll tell you the meaning of significance of this. We are making a sentence out of it. What is the sentence? B.B. Roy, R-O-Y, B.B. Roy, Great Britain's very good wife. Understood? Okay. Now they all represent color. Okay. This is black. This one is white. Between black and white, only all the other colors are coming. Similar type of colors will be close by it. This is brown. This is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, close by it. Blue and violet. Gray, white. Gray and white are close by. Brown and red close by. And other things are known. B is what? Which color? Tell me. What is B? B is black and W means white. Between black and white, all the colors are coming. Read the colors now. Tell me. Identify the color. This is which color? Tell me. First. Okay. This one. Red. Similar color. No? Brown and red are similar looking color. No. Brown. I told you similar type of colors will be close by. Okay. B and brown, red. Then what is O? First. Tell me. Then say G, green, yeah, B, V, G, gray, gray, and then white. Similar type of colors will be close by here. And how do you write this one? This alphabet, how do we write? By using a sentence. What is that sentence? Repeat. Can you repeat? Repeat the sentence. Yeah. BB. Say fast. You can't see BB Roy, ROY. BB Roy is written or not? Huh? BB Roy, Great Britain. Great Britain, you know, UK, no, United Kingdom. Great Britain, very good wife. Repeat once so that you remember. What is it? This is black, no, black color. BB Roy. Say fast. Say, can you say? Okay. Today what? We'll close. Or you continue for while? Okay. BB Roy, Great Britain's very good wife. Okay, then we do this much for today then, huh? Then tomorrow I'll teach you like how we are using this one. Okay. How we decode when the colors are given, or how we decode. Tomorrow I'll teach you that one. Okay. Not tomorrow, the next day, no. Tomorrow we'll be having that class with the batch one, Monday to that class. Okay, the optics one. All right. I'll close, huh? Okay, okay.